Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Okay, the last few months in particular, living in the world of crypto, it's been pretty fun. It's been neat living through this historic moment, having the first spot Bitcoin ETFs get approved in the United States. Fantastic to see it. I believe the long-term implications are not sufficiently appreciated. Perhaps there's a little bit too much hype in the short term. But setting that aside, can we just get down to the million-dollar question? Because what we're all really wondering is, are we going to see new all-time highs or not? Is Bitcoin specifically at a point in the market cycle where it's actually in short order going to be running to a new all-time high? And this is of gigantic consequence to all of us in the world of crypto because Bitcoin leads the market. If it's the case that Bitcoin's going to run to a new all-time high, I can only imagine the face-melting activity that's going to occur with altcoins. Specifically, I'm most interested in XRP. I'm biased. It's my largest individual holding. I'm telling you, if Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, buckle up. Like, my expectation is that XRP will substantially outperform Bitcoin, but I'm also excited for the rest of the altcoins that I hold, and look forward to seeing what happens with the rest of them as well. But if we don't, I am less optimistic. If we don't see a new Bitcoin all-time high, and some think that we're pretty much at the heights of what we're going to see for Bitcoin, maybe we're going to see some more fireworks this year for some altcoins, although they'd be muted compared to if Bitcoin hits a new all-time high. So that's why the question is of such great consequence. Well, that's why I want to talk about this. And I've got perspective from three chart analysts that I just consider to be among the best out there. There are three in particular. I've been following all of them for years on end. And it's interesting because one of them thinks it's virtual certainty. He couldn't be more confident. We're going to see a new all-time high. Another one of them thinks that it's not probable that we see a new all-time high right now for Bitcoin. And the third one says either way is possible. We don't have sufficient data, but he believes that we are going to have sufficient data to make that determination, likely within the next few weeks. And again, the hit rate for these guys, it's just through the roof, but there's some disagreement on the most core, crucial, important question to all of us: new all-time high or not? And so that's why it's going to be interesting to see who's right and how things play out. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so who are the three analysts? Well, the first one will be Credible Crypto. He does believe we're going to be seeing a new all-time high for Bitcoin in short order. The second one is the Blockchain Backer, who, although he acknowledges there could be a new all-time high, he does not think that's what's most probable. And the third one is Alesio Rani. Now, I don't cover material from him as much on my channel, but that's not having anything to do with the quality of his work. I consider these three analysts to be basically on the same level. I think they're all absolutely fantastic. As far as Alesio is concerned, though, he's less consistent with what he puts out. It's not always about cryptocurrency, and so he's not always at the forefront of my mind. But man, this guy is incredible. He has a massive following, well-deserved 380,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's very impressive here. And so you'll see, though, and I'm going to cover them in that order: Credible Crypto, Blockchain Backer, and then Alesio Rani, because Alesio Rani makes the case for why it actually could go either way, but what's at stake? Well, we'll get to it. So I'll just mention at the time I'm recording this, XRP, just a hair shy of 60 cents, Bitcoin just over $46,000. Despite some of the excitement with the trading of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, it's just been sideways movement for the most part, some little bursts here and there, but not a sell the news event, but also not a buy the news event. I didn't see anybody guess that would be the case, but that is what we're working with right here. You got the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 71 out of 100, so market participants are in greed. And the market cap for the asset class, 1.77 trillion. Here you have a post. This is some of the latest from chart analyst Credible Crypto, and he wrote the following: Bitcoin is up 10% since the quoted tweet. Let's take a look at how the data looks now. And so he's referencing a post from January 5th in which he said, in part, and this is a quote from him, "All this to say that we are literally as unfrothy as possible with levered players washed out, funding at baseline, and spot leading the markets into what is arguably the most bullish fundamental catalyst over the last few years. Don't overcomplicate it, number go up," end quote. Yeah, and I remember reading that at the time, seeing the optimism there and certainly appreciating it. And so now he's coming back and providing an update. And this is from today, by the way. The rest of this is from today at 2:17 p.m. Central Time. And he said, number went up, but ideally this is just the start. Looking at our data, we can see that funding remains flat, open interest continues to bleed down, and while we have seen a bit of a perp premium pop up, this has occurred in all prior instances as we began our climb to the upside. Is our consolidation complete, and are we ready for the next leg up? Let's see how things develop. Long and strong Bitcoin. And so, long story short, even if this isn't the exact moment, he is firm that we are going to be seeing a move to the upside. And just to be clear, all of the three analysts that I'm highlighting in this video, all of them were going against the grain over a year ago when they were saying, market looks strong, bottoms in. All three of them were saying this, when that is not what most analysts were saying out there on social media, on YouTube, so on and so forth. They were all right about that, and they gave their reasons as to why. They had various, not saying the analysis was the same for all of them, but they all came to the same conclusion at about the same time. And that these not popular opinions at the time. People were screaming, crying, they were in pain, emotionally, number go down, $12,000 Bitcoin, all that crap. But all three of these guys said, no, that's not what's most probable. And they were right, to their credit, for all of them. And that's why it's so fascinating. Like, they're so good. I want to know so badly who is right. Because again, like I said, it's going to be a substantial consequence. And so to bring the point home, as far as credible crypto is concerned, I'm going to share this with you. And this is from January 9th. Credible Crypto, and this just kind of emphasizes the degree to which he's all on board with this idea of a new all-time high for Bitcoin. And in fact, he's been arguing for years that we're actually not in a new cycle right now. It's like a super cycle. It's a continuation of the previous cycle. It just hasn't ended, and that's part of his big analysis as to why he thinks we're going to be going way, way, way higher in the short term. And so here's what he wrote. Can't wait for this idea of us being in a new cycle after completing our last Bitcoin cycle at the $69,000 highs gets completely and utterly debunked. And I'll note for you not looking. He wrote that in bold for a reason. He thinks the idea of the last cycle, if you want to call it, he doesn't want to call it that, of $69,000 Bitcoin, he thinks the idea is trash. He thinks it's wrong. And then he says, the below graphics would lead you to believe that this cycle started in 22 and that we won't see our top until 25 or 2026. I've made the argument for years now that the current price action falls within the bounds of the same cycle that we have been in since 2018, and that we will see a blow off top before 2025. And so I would love for this to be correct. I'm not pretending to know who has the right perspective here, but he is firm on this, and he has been saying this consistently for years. And so that means we're in the same cycle for like 6 years, and he thinks that cycles are lengthening, and it's gonna blow off. Like, this is the time for this to happen. Now, the blockchain backer is not convinced of this, and from what I've seen from him, and I never want to put words in anybody's mouth, it's not that he's completely ruling out the possibility of Bitcoin going to a new all-time high. He just, based on current data, does not think that's what's most probable. He's been pretty clear about that part, right? And so he shared this post. This is from December 3rd, 2023, and he kind of breaks stuff down for people. And here's what he wrote. Bitcoin's bullish move has been going on for over 1 year. Many are just realizing now it. With that, I'm now beginning to actively sell the Bitcoin I bought at the lows. We're up 162%. It's only 24% till we hit the $1 trillion market cap, the 702 retrace. I suspect the comment section will be filled with, we're just starting, are you crazy? Bitcoin ETF. We aren't just starting. It's been rising for over a year, and the vast majority waited, panicking during the wall of worry. But now, most aren't worried anymore. They are fearless. I suspect we'll see $30,000 to $32,000 one day, even in the most bullish of scenarios. Maybe I'll buy there? But what will you do if it goes into an all-time high? I own altcoins. They'll absolutely demolish Bitcoin if Bitcoin goes into an all-time high. And anyone who has studied the historical behavior of the cryptocurrency market knows that. And I still suspect altcoins are going to massively outperform Bitcoin if all this is a retrace for Bitcoin. See my recent Wyckoff accumulation post. Okay, so that's a point, and that's kind of what I was referencing at the outset of the video. So altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin no matter what. There's way more money in Bitcoin, way less money in alts. If alts are going to pop, they're going to have greater performance. It's going to be that's where the real money is to be made. So the thing is, even if that's true, maybe some of my altcoins, even if Bitcoin doesn't hit a new all-time high, maybe some of the altcoins I hold will go high enough where I'll finally feel enticed to sell. That might happen. But I'm not optimistic that XRP will be one of those coins because XRP's never gone into new all-time highs if Bitcoin hasn't. And maybe it's different. I'm not saying that's literally impossible, but I won't be optimistic for that. And so that would be kind of disappointing. Maybe I do get to take some profit for the first time and actually cash out to United States dollars because I've never done that and I've been in crypto over 6 years. I'm just very stubborn about my approach to investing, whether it's in equities or crypto. It's I buy and then I don't touch it. That's it. That's what works for me. Asset class keeps getting bigger. I know it's not for everybody. That's what I do, though. And I'm very happy with what I'm doing. So, if we do see new all-time high for Bitcoin, this is why I said at the outset, this is the million-dollar question. If Bitcoin goes in a new all-time high, the alts will do that much better. If Bitcoin doesn't and it's topping out roughly where it is now, maybe we still see some fireworks, but just because it's the end of the cycle and some of that stuff happens. But either way, the point is, the altcoins outperform either way. Anyway, he continues though. Otherwise, what a journey. Feels good to take some off the table. I spent a year and a half on the opposite side of retail with them screaming we're going to $12,000. I got to enjoy about a month with us on the same side as excitement returned above $35,000. But this will, of course, put me on the enemy list again. That's unfortunate, but it comes with going against the consensus. While I don't enjoy being viewed as the enemy, I never let it deter me from doing what I think is right. And just know, I'm not the enemy. I spent a year and a half screaming the bottom was in. It's just that many wouldn't listen. Again, I've begun selling the Bitcoin I bought at the lows in 2022, 2023. I still have the original 35% I bought back in the $3,000 to $6,000 levels in 2018/2019. And it'll be a process for me to sell this as I don't do things in one large lump sum, but daddy getting paid. And nothing wrong with that. No problem ever with taking profit. To each their own. And it's just, see, this is what scares me. He's so good at what he does. I'm afraid that he's right because he's so damn good at this. It's the truth. I want him to be wrong. I want Bitcoin to go to an all-time high. And I'm sure he'd be happy if he were wrong because, that helps his net worth too. But again, he has such a scary high accuracy that I take what he says very seriously. I think that's I know we all do, right? There's a ton of overlap between his audience and mine, and for good reason. We're all interested in the same stuff, including XRP, obviously. It's just that Bitcoin leads the market, and that's why this is of consequence. But that's why when he says, yeah, well, even if Bitcoin goes to all-time high, so what? How much money is he actually leaving on the table at that point? How much higher is Bitcoin going to go? Even if it triples from this point, so what? The money's in the alts, And then he shared this afternoon, 2:42 p.m. Central Time, brand new post. He wrote, I'm done. I've finished selling all the Bitcoin accumulated at the lows. The 618 retrace was hit this morning. That's it for me. Wild year-long ride. Good luck to Bitcoin. I still have the 35% from 2018 through 2019, which is about 8% of my overall portfolio. Time for the real fun. So he seems very optimistic regardless. And again, I know all of us would prefer that Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. It's just, again, the question is that something that is realistic here, right? And so that brings us to what Alesio Rani had to say. Now, he published a video here. You can see he even shared it on social media platform X, 1:15 p.m. Central Time today. And I checked this thing out. It was like 9 or 10 minutes. And he wrote here, Bitcoin finally reaches key level. This is setting up next. And again, he's another one of the guys out there that his hit rate is incredibly high. And so that's why, when I'm putting out this video, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put out this video with 3 of the most badass heavy hitters that, in my opinion, that I follow in the world of charting crypto. And so Alesio Rani, although, again, like I said, I don't highlight him as frequently, in my mind, he's in the same category. He's absolutely fantastic. And he was, against the grain. He's not afraid to go against the grain. The crappy analysts, they go with the grain. It's the same as stupid retail sentiment, whatever. That's what they do. So there's a reason he has 380,000 subscribers on YouTube. Well deserved, as far as I'm concerned here. And so here's the bottom line. If you want all the technical analysis, I don't like to regurgitate TA. So if you want that, just go check out those guys' channels. All right. But I'm making a video where I'm comparing the overall perspectives and having a conversation about this. So I'm not going to regurgitate the TA, but I want to share with you what I thought were some of the notable takeaways from this particular video. Because Alesio Rani, he actually is expecting within the next few weeks, he said, a pullback for Bitcoin of at least 15 to 20%. And again, within the next few weeks. So it's going to scare the hell out of some people. Now, this stuff never scares me. I've been in this for over 6 years. I know the overall trend is up for the crypto asset class. That's not going to change. I firmly believe that. But he says it's coming soon. And here's the thing. He says that the structure of the pullback, the actual chart structure of the pullback, is what will tell him whether Bitcoin is going to a new all-time high in all probability or whether it is at the end of the cycle. So, he notes that what we're seeing right now could be peak optimism in this market cycle for Bitcoin. And we did, for the first time this cycle, hit extreme greed on the fear and greed index yesterday. And it dipped a little bit below that today. But he's just noting that sentiment is closer anyway to where you would expect it to be if we are nearing the end of the cycle. So, I will say it's certainly to me felt like a lot more of a mania environment towards the end of these things. But, even with, for instance, the blockchain backer having his perspective that it's not probable we're going to have a new all-time high for Bitcoin, he thinks it's quite plausible that the next several months are still going to be seriously fun and fireworks are be going off. It's just probably, more so for altcoins. So we still have plenty of time to see that metric increase and to see it sustained for long periods of time in extreme greed. That can still happen here. But Alesio Rani, again, he notes that what we could be at right now is peak optimism, and this market cycle for Bitcoin are very close, right? This actually could be the moment. And so he says that once we have a large pullback in Bitcoin, it will be useful because, he says, without seeing what the very nature is in the charts of a large pullback from Bitcoin, he says it's virtually impossible for him to accurately conclude whether this is the top of the cycle for Bitcoin or whether Bitcoin will go to new all-time highs. And so if you want to know the specifics of exactly what the chart formation is, if you like to get into the nerdy techie stuff like that, just watch his video. It's fantastic. He breaks it down in great detail. But that's what he's saying. So in his mind, we're likely to have a pullback, a notable pullback, a big one, in coming weeks, and that's when he's going to be able to tell finally what happens. And so it's just interesting. You have three of my favorite analysts out there who I think are incredibly talented. They all have an incredible hit rate, but they all have different perspectives on the most important question that we could possibly be asking ourselves in the world of crypto. One says new all-time high, one says, maybe, but it doesn't seem probable at this point, and the third says, there's no way to know right now, but we'll know soon. So we're all going to find out together, and obviously all of us would love to see moon time. We'd love to see the new all-time high. I don't pretend to know for sure which is going to happen, but I'm just going to keep tracking this. And I'll keep talking about the perspectives that these analysts are sharing here. But we live in interesting times. Now, the good news is, even if we don't see a new all-time high for Bitcoin, and even if XRP as a result doesn't hit a new all-time high, as unfortunate as that would be, I have nothing but the most positive long-term outlook for this asset class, including XRP. So I will sit here and hold. I don't care if it takes another decade. It doesn't matter to me. When it comes to investing, I just have a long-term mindset because that's what it takes to win. What would it take for me to change my perspective and think that, I should sell this coin or that coin, XRP or otherwise? Something fundamental would have to change. But if you're just talking about regular speculation and how highly the most volatile asset class on the entire planet, no. Having to wait for years on end, which I've already done, and that in and of itself is not an indication of whether XRP will or will not hit a new all-time high. So my answer just for me personally is, no matter what, I hold, no matter how long it takes, I will be more stubborn than any other human on the planet, period, because I do firmly believe at some unknown point in the future, XRP will hit a new all-time high. That's just how this works. Sometimes these plays take a long time to to materialize. That's just the nature of investing. So if there's no fundamental negative shift, especially in terms of adoption, utility, developer activity, all that stuff, why would I then be devastated? I won't be. I mean, yeah, I'd be kind of disappointed if we have to look longer, but I'm an adult. Like, I'm not going to like feel emotions and then think, oh man, I got to get out of this thing. That is not a sophisticated, like, using emotion to make important financial decisions, not the best idea. I will still not do that. So however's going to happen, it's going to happen. We're going to find out together. I'm optimistic no matter what, though. That's the bottom line for me. So yes, the idea of, Bitcoin not hitting an all-time high, I know that scares some people, and yeah, it'd be kind of disappointing, but it's not going to wreck my life. This thing's going to keep going up. I'm going to keep earning more money in the meantime, and I'll keep buying more stuff. Then we have another top, then maybe I'll sell there. So we'll see how high this thing goes, but either way, all of them do think that what is most probable, even if Bitcoin is at top, I don't see any dispute that you're going to see some fireworks here regardless, and that it won't be a lot of fun, especially at least in the first half of this year. So as far as I'm concerned, primarily reasons to be optimistic. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.